Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Watching Out with Jay and MJ, our recap for The Last of Us Episode 7, Left Behind. I'm Jay.
I'm MJ.
So I am surprised that we only have 2 episodes left. Are you? Is that weird for me?
I don't know if it's weird for you. It doesn't seem
like it's been 7 episodes.
Yeah, I'm going back and actually thinking about what we've actually seen and accomplished. And I mean, boiling it down, they've gone from Boston to Colorado. It's about all it's gone down. I mean, yes, there's like, okay, their relationship that's they've grown and they've experienced things of, running from the infected, and they're running from raiders, and they've found his brother. I mean, yes, there's all small things, but like boiling it down to like its basics. What has this show accomplished in 7 episodes? We went from Boston, or we showed the infection growing, and then we have gone from Boston to Colorado. So it seems like a lot really hasn't happened, which is why I think it feels like it hasn't been 7 episodes.
Yeah, I don't want to say what is it shown, because I think it's shown a lot.
Yeah,
I think it's just the fact that there's no real marker for passage of time, and I think that's really kind of what it is, maybe a little bit. I don't know, but it doesn't. And maybe the thing is, it's like maybe it's just so good that I'm not really looking at that or worried about that. I'm not sure. We'll see.
I can definitely get behind that. Yes, it's keeping my interest and so well that I want to keep watching. The episodes aren't dragging on and draining. Like, they're not getting boring, which most shows about this time kind of hit a lull before going into the last couple, maybe like the last 1 or 2.
Yeah, it almost feels like I've just been watching like a really extended movie almost. Like, it doesn't feel like it feels, the story feels seamless in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now I wonder if that's also because from what I've heard, there's not been a lot of variance in this story and what was written.
Right.
Game.
But
and
obviously,
the game was critically acclaimed, so I'm assuming the story carries over very nicely.
Yeah, I would assume. Let's get into it.
Okay.
So obviously, when we left off last week, which I called the wrong episode name, I'm remembering. I think it was called Ken. I called it something else. We know that Joel fell off the horse because he was stabbed with the end of a baseball bat, and he was looked to be bleeding out in the snow.
You would assume also that he would know not to pull that out, with how much background he has in doing things that are welcome. Sorry to interrupt.
Right, but I get that argument, but I also think about the fact that it's not like, to me, if it was a knife is slick. A knife is, like that. I think for me, like with something like that where it's wood, like maybe the fact that it's rigid could, do more harm than good if it's just sitting there. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but that would be my thought. It's like a knife itself, but then again, a knife, how much damage could a knife really do if it's just a knife? But I don't know. Who knows? But I get your point. Like, why pull it out? But yeah. I get that.
But yeah, so like you said, he gets stabbed, quote unquote, and pulls it out, starts bleeding out. And I think we end that he falls off the horse on the last episode, and Ellie kind of runs to his side to make sure he's okay, see what's going on, reveals how much he's bleeding, and that's when we fade to black from the last episode.
Right. So now they found a house, I guess, and she has got Joel, inside. She's got the horse in the garage, defrosting.
Which is hilarious.
And she's just basically, she's in panic mode. She's trying to stop the bleeding. She's, ripping up muslin or whatever, or what have you, whatever kind of fabric that she's found to muslin.
I
You know
know.
what muslin
No, I
is.
know, but the fact that you picked that over cotton or anything else, you went straight to muslin.
It was like muslin or burlap. Like it wasn't just. She went out there like with cotton swabs or anything like that. It was like a muslin or burlap fabric.
I
Like it
thought
was a rippable fabric.
I thought it was like a pillowcase.
It don't matter what it was. I'm just telling you what I said. It was muslin or burlap to
Okay,
me.
okay, it was muslin or burlap. We'll go with
I mean, if it
that.
was a pill, whatever. It don't matter. It don't matter. I'm staying with muslin. I think I just want to say the word muslin.
No, it's a good
Uh,
word.
so so thanks, Project Runway. Um, but yeah, so she's trying to stop the bleeding, and Joel's like, you know what? Just leave me and go find Tommy.
Oh, he's
And he
accepted
is
his death. Like he's like, it's over. Get out of here. Don't watch me pass away. Go find safety.
Yeah, and she thinks about it. Obviously, she thinks you obviously can tell that she's about to protest,
Mm-hmm.
and dost thou protest much? And
You're pulling
she,
like muslin, Romeo and Juliet. You're just pulling all like what is with this old English today? I mean, I guess muslin's not old English, but still.
oi, wait, no, that's not it. I always go oi first, and oi is Australian.
It really
Uh,
is.
oi, pip pip. I don't know. Regardless, we kind of see that Ellie eventually resigns herself to say, I should, I should go. And maybe in that moment she's thinking, because Joel grabbed her pretty forcefully, and maybe in that moment, if I were her, I'd probably be thinking, maybe I can make it to Tommy and get back. But I don't know how, because it was days.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be 10 days round trip, but maybe I don't know what she's thinking in that moment. So she puts, Joel's jacket over him, and then she, you know, goes to leave the basement that they're in. Like you can see her putting her hand on the handle and open the door, and this is where we cut to a flashback.
Your favorite part of this show, all the flashbacks.
Is it my
You,
favorite part of the show?
you asked for a flashback at the beginning of every episode back when we were reviewing episode 2 and 3.
It just felt like that was what they were doing. Was they were giving us like a cute 3, 4, 5 minute flashback at the beginning to kind of give us a glimpse into the story. I thought that was creatively, cinematically, I thought that made sense. Don't
Okay.
try to put words in my mouth. Get on my face.
But yes, we jumped to a flashback of Ellie, back how she was being trained to be part of Fedra. So this is back before she was bitten, before she met the Fireflies. This is her story of how she kind of got up to that point.
Right. Uh, so yeah, they're basically in, for lack of a better word, I would say they're in military school.
Oh, it's 100% what they are. I mean, they're being trained to be either officers or grunts. I mean, wasn't that the term that her, oh my gosh, who'd she go? Almost like when she got in trouble to go see the principal. Yes, captain.
Yeah, Captain Kwong.
Yes. And he gave her two
Yeah,
options. You can be a grunt or you can be an officer. And it obviously is military school.
yeah, because I mean, obviously she's like they're in gym, they're in PE,
Mm-hmm.
running their laps,
Yep.
and some bitch named Bethany comes up and it's like, yo, 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 Ellie, and starts being a bitch to Ellie. And she's like, where's your friend? Your friend ain't here to protect you. So Ellie's like, well, you know what? Pull up, bitch, and hit her in the face. And they
Oh,
got in a fight.
well, because even Bethany, she rips her headset off, her Walkman headset, and Ellie wants it back. And Bethany even bluntly just tells her, you don't fight people, your friend fought people, and your friend's not here anymore. Well, Ellie taught her. It was one of those examples of F around and find out.
Yeah, precisely. But that's how she ends up, in the office of Captain Kwong. And he gives the long drawn out speech of like, if you're a grunt, you're in the sewers, you're doing grunt work. If you're an officer, really get to, you can have a cushy lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
in that way. And he's really like, like choose. Like, I don't want to put you in the hole. It doesn't work. Like, I need you to choose what you want to do. Like, this is where you're headed. You are headed for grunt work. You need to decide.
Well,
And
he openly admits and tells her, you're so smart that you're dumb, that you're choosing to be disobedient when you could have like the world handed to you because you could have everything. You could have, like you said, the cushy life and all that. That there's no reason for her to be acting this way.
Right. She's prideful.
Mm-hmm.
She has too much, and uh that's the thing is that you know she can't get over her own self.
Exactly.
So he asked her which path, and she's like, obviously, I'm gonna go the officer path, and he gives her Walkman back.
Well, and he doesn't
But
really reprimand her because we find out that Bethany's in the infirmary with 15 stitches. So obviously she laid the smackdown on Bethany. But he doesn't do
right, and we
anything.
also right because he's like, this doesn't work. So at this point, I'm putting it in your hands. You need to choose.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be me punishing you. It's your choice. So we do end up at that night, and this is like where you really get military school vibes because they're banging the doors like lights out, lights out, lights out, ladies. Like
Yeah.
it's like 9 p.m. curfew. I don't know, whatever. But they're definitely like military schooled it up, or like a nunnery, whatever. Sun goes down, lights are out. It's like you're at grandma's house, like nobody can have the TV on past 8:30. Like it's so like that's
Did
basically where they are.
did you notice the alarm clock on the side of the bed? Maybe I just didn't read it right, but I think it was in military time. I think literally when it cuts to this clock to show the time, it was 0:4300 hours. So it was like what 12:43 or 1:43, whatever the zero would be. So like they were actually
Did you say 4,300 hours? That's not an
I
hour.
well, it's 1200 hours, 100 hours, but it was like 43 minutes past that. I don't know how you say that in military time.
What do you mean?
How would you say if the time was 1:46 p.m.? How do you say that in military time?
1346.
Okay, but it was zero, so it was 0:43. What
043.
I'm pretty sure that's what the time was
That's
on
what
her.
you think it said.
Yes.
Then that's midnight. That's 43. That's 43 minutes.
Yeah, so it was 43 minutes past midnight. So it was in military time. Is the whole
I
point.
doubt that's the wrong time. I bet that's the wrong time. There's no way to let them stay up to midnight before yelling lights out.
No, that's when she snuck in the window.
Oh, you took that of me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, it's yes. So lights out, and then uh, in the middle of the night, Ellie's friend, who we learn is Riley, her old roommate, sneaks through the window. Played by Storm Reed, who you probably haven't watched anything with Storm Reed in it.
I
Correct.
don't remember her from anything.
She's a Euphoria. She plays Rue's sister. Rue is played by Zendaya. So
Oh,
Storm
okay. Yes,
Reed,
yeah, yeah.
that's my only exposure to Storm Reed is that she is in HBO's Euphoria.
She was in the Suicide. Oh, was she Deadpool or Deadshot's daughter in the Suicide Squad?
Cool, great.
That's probably what she was.
I don't know.
That's
I don't
that's
know what that
that's
means.
what I know her from then.
Uh, but but we learned here that Riley's been missing for 3 weeks, that they all thought she was dead or what have you. And this is where we realize, that they're best friends. Obviously, we know that they are, from what we learned earlier with Bitchy Bethany, that, they're best friends. That's her person, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But Riley finally admits, hey, I joined the Fireflies. That's why I, left. Not why I left, but that's where I've been this whole time. And Riley's like, so basically, I just came back because I wanted to show you a good time. We should go have some fun tonight. Let's go the best night of our lives.
And Ellie automatically doesn't believe her. The first time she tells her, I joined the Fireflies, she goes, no, you didn't. And then she shows her the gun, and she's just, oh, you did.
Well, I guess you could get a gun any other way, but she's a child, so.
True. But yeah, so you said she wants to show her the night of her life, and she takes her out on the town. And even Ellie was thinking about it, and she just got in trouble the same day. So she was like, I don't know. I don't think I should go out with you. But, she talks her into it.
Yeah, so that definitely, that's the thing is like, Ellie actually thinks about making like a conscious choice of like, you know, which is not something that we know, which is something that she doesn't normally do. I don't know. To me, think about her shit,
Oh
or
God,
think
no,
about things
never.
before doing them. But she does, and they go out gallivanting or what have you across the roofs, the
Hmm.
rooftops, and they are making a beeline for a building. And this is kind of like interesting to hear because uh, she was like, oh, those are new lights. And she's like, yeah, they're opening up an apartment block because when people come in, the lights are obviously shut off to conserve energy. And as people move in, they open up the electricity grids in different parts of the city
Hmm.
to encompass more people. I thought that was kind of interesting to learn.
Well, based off of what we've seen, it's almost
Not
as if
really, but it was.
it's almost like they turn away people. Like obviously, oh my gosh, what was it? Like the first episode where like the kid came in, they tested him and they killed him automatically because we're not going to give you any more space. Like you just thought it was run down and they weren't accepting anybody else, that they were just like closed off to everything. Like that's the persona or the belief they've kind of led people to believe as Fedra.
I don't think that they killed that kid because
He was infected.
he was
Yes.
infected. Now, now maybe you're referring to episode 3, where at the very beginning
They
of the
killed off,
pandemic and
yeah.
the outbreak, they would kill you because of room. Is that what you're thinking of?
That's what I'm thinking of. And then also the Kansas City Fedra, where people were talking about they were like pillaging and raping and going on rampages. So they've never given a good image of Fedra. So it's hard to believe Boston's would be any different. So hearing, like you said, that they're accepting more people and growing the town just seemed a little off.
Yeah. Uh, but this is also yeah. So we know. So they know they're running around. They're jumping around. They're like jump around, jump around, jump. Sorry, but they go into a building, like a big abandoned building,
Hmm.
and again, like this is where like I'm like y'all up here giggling and laughing. Ain't the patrols outside? Y'all be real. Like I don't understand how they are so loud all the time. Like so loud.
Well, and you hear Riley explain that she got invited to be part of the Fireflies because she was being so sneaky, yet she got followed for so long by somebody. So obviously, you're not great at being sneaky if you're getting caught and being followed. But like you said, they're being loud. I'm assuming she was being loud that night too.
I mean, I think maybe just because I try to get out of my head of a zombie. This isn't a zombie.
Hmm.
They're infected. So I think for me, when I think about zombies, it's always like quiet, 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 quiet. You don't know what's going to come.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And and every time, like when they were jumping down off the roof into that building and their feet were just like hitting that thing, it was like, gong, gong. I'm like, guys, ladies, people,
Well,
can we have some decorum here? Can we please soft step it? Can we soft step it a little bit?
I mean,
Like just a little, you don't know. Things change.
they're in a safe zone, so I mean, they're in a walled off city, so there shouldn't be any infected. But
But be cautious. Be cautious.
I,
You know?
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
know.
my only belief would be maybe they're not patrolling, maybe Fedor's not out there yet because they just opened the area, so they assume no
Maybe.
one's there, so they're not patrolling for that reason.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Why
That makes
waste
a ton of
troops
sense.
if there's not anybody to patrol?
Right. That makes sense. But they're running around, obviously, jumping all kinds of bullshit, laughing, giggling, tooting horns.
Parkour, parkour.
That they're playing stop. You know, they got the drums out. You know, just make as much noise as possible. And Riley is like, "I'm taking you to someplace special." And the way when we find out what she takes her to the mall, which we hear. Ellie was like, I thought it was full of infected, and she's like, obviously not. You know, it was on the same grid as the new apartments that were just lit up, and she's like, so she takes it to the mall, lights it up, and you can see that just the mall is like fully decrepit. But I believe at this, like, again, they're telling us Ellie's never seen a mall before, so she's like, "What is this establishment?" So actually thought that was really cool.
Well, because she even says that they closed it off and they told everybody they closed it off because it was supposed to be full of infected.
Right.
Uh,
So
but we obviously find out when we open it up and all the lights come on, not the case.
yeah. But Riley's going to show her the four wonders of the mall. Actually, five, because when Ellie sees the escalator, she's like, "Ooh," which I
Moving
thought was a cute moment.
stairs.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a cute moment.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so that's the electric stairs. Uh, but they are fully kind of running around, and we're learning a little bit more. Like Ellie's like, Riley's telling her why are some stores empty and some aren't. It's like when people were looting, and some things, the things that went first were the things that would be most usable. They walk by the Victoria's Secret, and all the underwear is still there. Like that's pretty funny to me.
Well, so I played a game to see what stores I could notice, and I'm pretty sure there was a Target, a Best Buy, a Victoria's Secret, a CVS. There was almost like a whole city's worth of stores in
There,
one mall.
there was no Target in that damn mall.
Yes, there was. Go back and watch
No, there was not.
when she comes back when Ellie leaves and then comes back because she wants to say I'm sorry or whatever. She walks back out and the store emblem she walks by is the big circle with the white dot in the middle for a Target.
It ain't no Target.
There is a Target sign, so I would
It
assume
ain't
that
Target.
means there's a Target,
It ain't no Target.
but
I'm
not
telling you
anymore.
that Target's too big.
And then in the distance, I'm pretty sure it wasn't ever like focused on, but there was a flashing light for like a Best Buy because it had the yellow tickets.
I did see the Best Buy.
Yeah, and there was a
I did.
CVS that had like the sea thing dangling off over by the food court.
I don't agree, but we'll figure it out. I'm not gonna fight you now.
I'll go.
I'm gonna
I'll
fight
go
you
back and
later.
find it. I'll take a screenshot and show you later.
I mean, have fun with that.
Okay.
It's gonna take you all day to find that Target. So they're out there playing around. I don't remember what all the wonders were. I know they ended up at an arcade, which fucking love an arcade. Like that for sure. I'm like, this be the last thing. Even today, in today's times. Wait, technically this was today's times.
Yeah.
Arcades. I love an arcade. Like that really actually brought something back to me. Like way back in the day. Like, did you ever go to Jefferson Mall?
No, but we had an arcade where I was when I lived in E Town. Like they had a full on arcade in the back of Town Mall, and they had
What was it called?
I literally think it was just Town Mall Arcade. It literally just had arcade above the door, but you had skee ball and the basketball shoot and Galaga and Donkey Kong and Miss Pac-Man. I don't believe you had any of the Mortal Kombats though, because it was too gory and E-Town couldn't have that.
Ours was called Aladdin's Castle.
Oh my god.
And I was like, actually, it was. I remember specifically, like it was Aladdin's Castle. I remember what the front of it looked like and everything. That's what ours was called, Aladdin's Castle.
See,
Fucking loved it.
Okay, so what was your game? I have to ask, what was the go-to game you
I was
wanted
so
to?
young then. I was so young then that I didn't know. Like I didn't have gaming systems at home, so I didn't know all the moves. But I mean, games that I remember, like I remember a game where you played as like dinosaurs.
Play it as done.
Do you remember that?
No.
I have to find it. Like it was a dinosaur fighting game. Primal Rage. Oh my god, it was called Primal Rage.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
And you could
yeah.
be like a gorilla, and like Primal Rage was what I remember big time way back then.
Oh, that's been a game for years.
Which I don't know how good or bad that game was back then, but I do remember Primal Rage. But there were like I love the racing games. That was big for me.
I was the first person shooters. The one that I remember because they just had it every time I would go to the movie theater in E-Town for years was called Police Academy. Oh, that was my game.
With the pedal?
No, that is Time Cop you're thinking of. But so very close. No, this one is you start out as a patrolman and you go all the way through to commissioner, and you have to like beat certain tasks in each level. Like one's like like for the entry level one, there's this ball challenge where the ball literally, like once you shoot it, it'll move to a different spot on the screen, and you have to react quickly and keep shooting the ball.
I remember this. I
But the
remember this.
but the further you go down, the ball would like start bouncing, or then they'd put like, okay, there's two balls, and you had to specifically shoot
Yep,
the red one. Like, oh, that was my
I
game.
remember that. Absolutely remember that.
Loved that game.
Yeah, but yes, again, they ended up at the arcade. They played Mortal Kombat 2,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of mirrors the poster that was in Ellie's room. So she was super excited to play that. But during them playing, we know some bullshit's about to happen because we see an infected, sitting on the ground, I guess a few stores away.
So yes, it was a few stores away, but I saw a TikTok this morning explaining what the store was it was in. So it's supposed to be the American Doll store.
Okay.
But apparently in the game, because all this entire episode is based off of DLC, in the game, the pharmacist, for like CVS or whatever, got infected, and they locked them in the American Doll girl or American Girl store would have been in the video game. So they were true to the video game in this one apparently, because they put the infected in that doll store.
Hmm.
So like again, it's just they're being true and like steadfast, even DLC for this game.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's before or after, but I know they get on a carousel.
So that was the first one. So it was the escalator, then the carousel, then I forget the next one because maybe it was straight to the taco stand where she's been sleeping because she gives her the book.
Oh no,
of the puns.
They do the carousel, which is the carousel is where we kind of start to see like eyes being made.
Oh yes.
Between Riley and Ellie. This is where we kind of figure out, okay, there's something going on. It's that won't they schoolgirl, school kid kind of thing where it's like, oh, this is awkward a little bit, which I thought was played up really, really well. And then after the carousel, they went to the photo booth.
Yeah, I was it dawned on me then they went to the photo booth and did the cute little 4 photos together that they weren't familiar with, and Riley came prepared with that $5 bill.
Right, which is cool. So yeah, so they're definitely we're definitely seeing that there's something more there between these two.
Mm-hmm. But then after, so it goes to the arcade, and I don't remember then I think they go and she gives her the book, her present, which is the next volume of the puns.
Oh yeah, it was the pun book, the second volume. You're right.
And that's where that's where Ellie finds the pipe bombs and things that Riley had for the Fireflies, and found out that Riley is being sent somewhere else, and this the Fireflies are trying to overthrow or help overthrow Fedra and another city. So she specifically brought her out tonight because this is the last night she has in Boston.
Yeah. And that's kind of a conversation they have earlier, kind of on their way to the mall was I think Ellie is basically saying, what I've heard about Fireflies is that they'll kill civilians, they'll do this, they'll do that. And Riley's really trying to reassure her and say, no, that's not it. So when she does find these bombs, she's like, you're lying to me. You,
mm-hmm.
You said you would never let them do anything to me, but it's I think for Ellie, it's kind of how can you there's no way you can protect me from something like this.
Exactly.
And that, at that point, Ellie, gets pissed after learning that Riley is, leaving, and that she was posted in this mall by the Fireflies, and Ellie leaves.
Yeah, but only having seen 3 of what are now the 5 wonders because of the escalator. But as she's walking her way out and she gets to the back door, she finally realizes, okay, this is my last chance I'm going to see her, and starts heading back into the mall and starts hearing screaming. So she sprints to find her friend. She thinks being attacked, but she's actually at, what does every mall in America have? The Halloween costume store. And one of the animatronics had gone off and was screaming and making that noise, which freaked Ellie out completely.
Right. When I heard that, I was like, Storm Reed's acted must have taken a real nosedive. But I was like, oh, cute.
Yeah, I was not expecting it, but when it happened, I was like, well played, well played.
Yeah, but the last thing they're going to do is it's in a Halloween shop, and she just like, I thought this would be, you know, cool for you to see, blah blah blah.
Well, she said, I thought it was gonna
And
be your favorite, so I saved it for last.
right, uh, and I think and they kind of make up. Like Ellie's like, I get it, I understand, what's going on,
When she had left her
and
book, she's like, just give him a book. Like she came back for the pun book too a little bit.
yeah, uh, but they did put on some mask, and uh, Riley, plugs the Walkman into the sound system for the Halloween store, again, being as loud as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're running around dancing on top of the glass display cases. That's smart. And, this is when, they take their mask off, and this is the first kiss, right?
This is where, because it's unspoken. They've never mentioned liking each other. They never mentioned, to my knowledge, if they're into girls, into guys, into both. And then, like you said, Ellie takes off her mask, prompts Riley to take off hers, and then Ellie kisses her. And then apologizes, which is like the cutest reaction of like, I'm sorry.
Right, because she doesn't know. She doesn't know how they're going to react. And Riley, obliges and reciprocates. And I believe at this point, if I remember correctly, they have a little conversation, and Riley's like, I think Ellie's like, you have to take me with you, or Ellie's like, no, you have to stay. I can't remember which it is.
You got it a little. So the conversation is, don't go, Ellie. Riley goes, okay. And then they come into, well, then what are we going to do? Because it's pretty much Riley's going to give up on the Fireflies. Ellie's going to give up on Fedra. They're going to go make a life of their own, kind of like what Bill did, Bill and Frank. And they're like, okay, what are we going to do? Cue rambling noises and grunting and sounds like zombie as they're trying to like plan their life together.
Oh, you put a lot of that. Okay. I didn't go that deep.
Yeah. So like
that. But regardless, that the infected that we saw, waking up, it, comes barely into the Halloween store.
Mm-hmm.
They fight. There is a scuffle. There is a scurry. There's a scrounging. There's some MMA. There's a little bit of light wrestling with, I think, a DDT happens. A DDT happens, right? Someone does the stunner. Someone does a Stone Cold Stunner.
I think they did.
Could you imagine? If one of them did the Stone Cold Stunner on the infected? That would be amazing.
I think the infected did it to one of them, is what I was thinking.
Or the pedigree. God, the pedigree. The pedigree like it hurt.
It all looked like it hurt.
Regardless, they fight. Ellie stabs the infected in the head, which to me, I thought that the first infected she ever killed was the one in the abandoned store when she found the tampons. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Did you think?
I thought that too. Because the way
she just did it. Yeah.
Like,
go ahead. Sorry.
Like the way she like slowly like took her time and was, because he was asking Joe, well, like, does it affect you knowing they used to be people? And then she finds one and she slowly does it and slowly kills it to see like, is this going to affect me? And then almost like nothing happened. I thought that was the first one.
Right. But then, looking back on it now, I'm kind of like, oh, the first one that she killed, assuming this is the first one.
Yeah.
This next one, maybe it's because it's trapped. She wants to see. She's trying to she wants to see what it is. Like she really wants to understand or she has control in that moment, which she didn't have before.
Well, and
I don't know.
I think I took that one now looking at what we know as little kid with magnifying glass meet ants of I have the power. I'm going to do what I want. I'll torture you and kind of like get my revenge for what you did to me and the girl I liked.
I don't think it revenge or torture. I don't think it torture. I think your analogy is correct. Like with the magnifying glass, I think when kids do that, I think the first time they do that, it's out of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
But, who knows? But after WrestleMania, Riley and Ellie both discovered they're both bitten. So this is where we realize the bite mark that Ellie had when we first meet her is from this encounter.
Yeah.
And Riley's also bitten on the hand. So they are literally like holding hands and saying, I don't know what are we going to do? And, Riley's like, we can either take the easy way out, which is, basically shooting ourselves, or we can just, whether it takes 5 minutes, 3 hours, or 2 days, let's just wait it out.
What, take the time we have together, like whatever amount of time we have left, let's just live in that moment.
Right. And Ellie agrees. And this is where we flash back forward to where Ellie is, we see Joel in the basement by himself. And we're thinking that Ellie left, but it turns out she went back upstairs trying to find something to help Joel. She's going to the cabinets. She's going to the drawers. She done thrown all the forks and shit on the floor. And I know the cutlery trays are hard to what's the word? Like sort. I know that shit's annoying to clean up.
Mm-hmm. But
it's like unload a dishwasher. It sucks.
But here's my question. So she like all that she's going for. She's looking and she finds a sewing needle and some thread.
Mm-hmm.
Who keeps their thread and needle in the cutlery drawer? I mean, I get it could have been ransacked and people misplaced.
It wasn't the cutlery drawer. It's the shit drawer. It's the drawer where you keep your shit.
It's that I don't have anywhere else to put it, so let's put it here drawer.
Yeah, it is.
But
okay. I mean, but because you always think that I am going to disagree with you about everything. I will. She probably found it in their shit drawer, but. Are you correct in saying if I had a container of needle and thread, where would it be? It would probably be in my bathroom or in my bedroom. So I agree. That's what my mom kept it. My mom kept it in her bedroom in her bottom drawer.
I was gonna say if you and maybe this is a generational thing. Like if you go to my grandmother, my wife's grandmother, even go to my wife and say, "Hey, can I have some needle and thread?" They go to a specific closet where they have all their sewing stuff.
Well, that's a lot of. I'm talking about just like this is just like random shit, though.
I mean, so, if you have just one spool and stuff, I get that. It's
not one spool.
What's what she finds?
My mom had like those Danish cookies, the little tins they come in.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had a tin of that, and that tin had like needle thread, what have you, in it, and that tin was in her shit drawer, her bedroom shit drawer, where she threw everything.
Okay, so it was like a kind of like a everything has its place, but this is a random thing that doesn't have a place, so we're gonna put it in the shit drawer, even though everything in it has a place in it. Oh, I get okay.
But regardless, needle and thread, and she comes back to Joel, and she has made the decision to sew the wound closed.
So, which honestly, the moment she starts doing it, I wanted them to pan to Joel's face just to see the like scared, worried look on there, because that had to hurt, and he knew how much that was going to hurt. Like he has no choice; right. He has to put through it.
Yeah.
But if I saw her coming at me, no alcohol, no sanitation, no numbing, like I get okay, do what you got to do, save my life. But I bet he passed out from the pain. If that were a real person doing that and trying to go through, I probably would have passed out myself.
Well, Joel's been through some shit, so
true.
Who knows? But that's where we end our episode. Can I give a weird? I might have a weird take.
Okay.
I kind of, in a way, find Ellie very annoying.
Please expand.
I actually talked to someone who played the game, and I asked them. I said, "Is she this obnoxious? Like she's kind of a big effing baby, and she's just really annoying." And I go, I can't believe they would make this the main character. And the person that I spoke to said, playing the video game, Ellie in the video game was much more relatable is the wrong word, but much more endearing. And he's like, this is a choice on the actor's part. Like the Ellie, he said he basically I think he said the Ellie in the video game is as confrontational as this Ellie, or does it seem as angry as this Ellie? And he goes, I'm getting that too because he goes, I don't like this Ellie as much as I like the one in the video game. And I go, okay, I thought it was just me, but I find it. Yes, she has moments, but I find it very difficult sometimes to side with her or to not be like, just let her fucking die because she annoys me. And I feel that a lot, and not a lot, but that's just me personally. I'm like, I don't really care about her as much as I care about Joel.
No, I honestly I do care about more Joel. Yeah, I do care about Joel's character a lot more than Ellie. Yes, I do find her annoying, but I always thought that was more or less ignorance, that she doesn't know better, because you have to look at the world she was raised in. Again, coming from never playing the game, this is the only iteration of Ellie I know.
Exactly, and that's what my point was. Is that when I asked, someone was like, "No, the Ellie in the game was a little bit was more endearing, and in their opinion, less like kind of angsty teenage girl." And I was like, "Got it." So that's just my opinion. Doesn't make me dislike the show. I don't like what Ellie died or anything, but I was just kind of like, "Am I supposed to be annoyed by her?" And he's like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay, great, good to know." But what would you rate this episode?
I'm gonna give it a 7.
I think it's a 7 as well. I think that the way that this series is telling gay stories is pretty cool and amazing. Not making a big deal out of it, just making it seem like it's just any kind of love story. You could have swapped anybody out in those love stories, and it would have made the same amount of sense. And I just love the fact that it is that it's those types of stories. That this, I'm gonna say this is a gay video game. Ellie's gay, we know it. Bill is gay, we know it.
But
Joel might be bi. Who knows?
That was not confirmed in the game.
We know what it is. We ain't playing games.
Okay.
But yes, I would give it a 7. I do think this was a good episode. I do think it was cool to see the, how Ellie got the bite. What I'm interested in though is I want to see how they got. Now I want to see what happened from the bite to when we first saw her. Like that is the whole I want to see filled now. To be honest.
Well, and I wish they would have gone, or maybe they'll show it later. But yes, like the fact that she's so jaded towards so many people. If the girl or the person, I'm not going to limit to the girl, the person you liked, who you have had feelings for, that you finally see a future with, that you openly admit and you get accepted back, like they reciprocate those feelings,
right.
Then just gets ripped out of your arms and any future goes flying out the window, that's going to hurt somebody. And that just happened, 3-4 weeks ago? Like when we first start the show. And so maybe it's been like 6 months now, so she's starting to kind of...
Weeks ago? No, probably days.
I thought
because when we met her, that bite mark was still healing. Remember, they were saying it's been 2 or 3 days.
Okay, so yes. Okay.
At this moment with Joel, it's probably been 4 months because we know it's been 3 at least. Mm-hmm. But between like I don't know, between 3 and 4 months. But yeah, like when we meet her, that whole thing with Riley is fresh. Like very fresh.
Like that just happened. You meet with Joel, and then she kind of starts liking Tess for a little bit. Then Tess is killed.
Yeah, because remember the poster? Wasn't it like hand like 12 hours or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so like I said, that's like I could get why you're jaded. I could get and understand why this teenage girl is acting the way she is, having just experienced that and going through probably puberty and all the hormones and emotions and having to get used to that. And then you get thrown into, well, I'm possibly the cure for the entire world. That's a lot of weight on this person's shoulders. And then you throw in one person who's supposed to be protecting you, they're dead. And then you throw in, okay, I make friends with Sam and this other person in Kansas City. They're now dead. And then you kind of throw in, I thought I was this person who was going to save everybody, but then I tried to save him and it couldn't. She's going through a lot.
Yeah, I get that, but that doesn't mean she has to be annoying about it.
True.
But, no, I'm kidding. That's just me. I still find her character compelling. I was just like, my brain was thinking, there has to be a corner that we turn where I actually start to really, really, really root for her. And I haven't turned a corner yet. But it was for torso, arm, shoulder, or hand, it's 2 to 8 hours.
Okay. So then, yes. So then she's definitely that when we first pick up the show, it is fresh, having just had this experience. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing,
So,
I'll mention one last thing before we sign off. So I want to verify this, but that shot of her when she's in the mall up on the top floor and you see all the lights come on,
mhm.
I think all of the colors of the lights are only the colors of the lesbian flag. So it's representational of who she is.
Yeah, I heard that. I just didn't.
Okay.
I was like,
I want to
are we
go
reading into this?
I want to go sit there and compare because I don't know. I feel like, and if that's cool, 100% props. But I want to go and compare because that just, that it was a split second, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I did see something about that though.
Okay.
But I'm excited to see how the next two episodes go. Like I'm trying to figure out. I really want to know how they go forward, how they wrap up, how they, really how this ends, and I hope it ends with a bang.
Well, I don't know how the game ends, but
Right.
someone at work mentioned there's something Ellie does.
No,
I'm like,
I don't want to hear any pieces of it. Don't even say anything. I don't want to hear.
Fair enough.
Any. Just don't tell me. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear anything. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I meant to cut you off, but I have reasoning to.
No,
I don't want to hear anything. I know it's not a spoiler. I know it's not. I know you're not going to spoil me, but I don't want to hear anything.
That was my entire comment. Just right when you cut me off,
I don't even repeat it because I talked over it. I didn't even hear it.
That is fine.
I talked over it.
As almost says that where you cut me off was where I was going to end my comment, and I'm like, do I want to see how this ends, or do I want to like live where it's at now?
I didn't even hear what you started with. I was like, I don't care.
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't care.
Fair enough.
I didn't even care. Well, great. That was awesome. Look at us. I want to play an arcade game. I want to go to Rec Bar.
I want to go. What's the one we go to in Chicago?
Replay.
Yeah, I want to go back to Replay because they gave you free popcorn.
Replay's not big enough. It's not big. The popcorn was banging at that time, though. That time we went and started COVID.
That was so good.
That was us. It was our fault. Because we came back, everything got shut down. That was us. That was all on us. But you know what? I'd do it again.
For that popcorn? Probably.
That was 3 years ago. Can you believe?
That seems so long. So long.
Yeah. Well, guys, we'll be back next week with our recap of episode 8. And also, right now, our newest review is streaming. Streaming. Yeah,
it's on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Go watch.
And the episode is there for you to download and listen to with your ears and not just see with your eyes. So reviewing Lockwood & Co. So make sure you all check that out. And we will talk to you all with our next recap next week.
All right. Bye. You've been listening to Watch or Not with Jay and MJ.
Interact and give us suggestions on what to watch at watchornotpodcast@gmail.com.
You can follow us on Twitter at watchornot_pod.
And don't forget about Instagram, you guys, at watchornotpod.
Don't forget you can support the pod by joining our Patreon at Watch or Not with Jay and MJ.
And subscribe and leave a review wherever you guys listen to podcasts. Talk to you soon.